top of the screen. You're watching the Weather Channel for accurate forecasts at your convenience. Weather you can always turn to.
This cold weather alert is sponsored by the makers of Advil Cold and Sinus, advanced formula for the cold season. Well, the big story tonight is with the cold temperatures. 7 below in Bismarck, 19 below in International Falls, 2 below in Minneapolis. It is bone chilling out there. You factor in the wind, and I'll tell you what, we have got wind chill factors that are running 40 and 50 degrees below zero. And that's the point where it gets dangerous. Look at the low temperatures we're expecting for Saturday. These are not wind chills. These are actual lows, 20 and 30 degrees below zero. The wind chill is going to be a different matter totally. It's going to feel like 40 to 60 below in many of these locations, and that's when you need to really stop and take note of what's going on around you, because if you do go outside, you need to be covered from head to toe. Nothing exposed, because exposed skin can freeze in a matter of minutes. That's how quickly it can happen. If you have to travel, make sure you have a winter survival kit in your car. Well, the cold air has already arrived in Fargo, North Dakota. Yes, it is bone chilling out there. Like I said, it's going to get colder. The temperatures just continue to drop during the day today, and wind chills were running some 30 to 40 below. It's going to be worse tonight and this weekend. Well, I hope you have tons of firewood. Maybe it's a good weekend to just stay inside, curl up with a good book, or the Weather Channel. How about that? All right, high temperatures on Sunday are going to still be extremely cold. And notice that the cold air is going to seep south into Texas and Louisiana with highs in the 30s and the 40s. Today, the Arctic air was on the descent, and we're going to see it move even farther to the south. Snow and wind have been the case across the Rockies, and where the cold air meets with the warm, moist air, we've seen some intense weather. Showers and thunder showers. That's right, severe thunderstorms with heavy downpours. Even got some flash flooding going on. As much as 3 to 5 inches of rain have been reported in the Atlanta metro area, south of the city in the southern suburbs, and we still could see some hail, gusty winds, and heavy downpours. Let's take a quick peek at a radar that's in motion, and you'll see what I'm talking about. That band of stronger storms to the south of Birmingham and to the south of Atlanta, Henry County and Clayton County. Around Jonesboro, they've reported over 4.5 inches of rain. So just a nasty situation out there. If you don't have to be out traveling on the perimeter or I-75 south, it's probably a good idea not to. Tomorrow afternoon, more rain for the deep south, and we may see some colder air moving through as the front moves through, and who knows, we could see some wintry precipitation before all is said and done. What's going to happen for the rest of the weekend? Stay tuned. We'll take a look at it.
Mr. Kemp on 2, Doctor. Uh-oh. Sore throat, stuffiness. I'm getting a cold. I know what I need. A name I've counted on for years. From the makers of Advil. Advil Cold and Sinus. It's tough on colds, like Advil is on pain. Handles a sore throat, fever, aches, clears nasal congestion, and won't make me sleepy. Not that I could sleep around here.
Advil Cold and Sinus, advanced formula for colds.
Get up-to-the-minute ski information from major resorts as well as conditions on slopes near you. The Skiers Forecast hourly all season long on the Weather Channel.
What if we got a hill and made it snow?
Audi Quattro, all-wheel drive, all the time, transfers power to the wheels with the most traction.
Wait, no, scratch the snow. Keep the hill and get something really slippery.
So Quattro goes places the Mercedes C280 and BMW 325i, even with traction control, never dreamed. And it goes there for less.
Nah, they'd never believe it.
Audi Quattro from $27,170 from the soul of Audi.
To test drive a road-gripping Audi Quattro, visit your nearest Audi dealer. This 5-day business planner is sponsored by Audi. For the name of your nearest Audi dealer, call 1-800-4AUDI. Well, let's see what's going on this weekend. We've got a big story in the temperature department. That is the cold air coming on down from Canada once again. We've already talked about one Arctic outbreak. Remember the record lows in Florida, freezing temperatures in Tampa, freezing in Orlando. Well, this air mass not headed for Florida, but it is headed eastward. It is headed somewhat to the south into Texas, and in this case, coming back to the west a little bit. See where the high is? It's way back here around British Columbia, so it's starting out in western Canada, and it's going to affect you folks in the west, at least some of you out here in the western states. As we go into Saturday, it slides on down the spine of the mountains here. It'll be a little chillier there in Salt Lake City and anywhere east of there, but out west into California, well, you won't really feel the effects of this front as you're kind of just protected by the mountain ranges there. And we are going to cool things off a little bit more in the deep south here. Look at the snow developing once again in Kentucky and back around Memphis and maybe Nashville. Shouldn't be a heavy snow, but some areas may pick up an inch or two as this snow breaks out with the cold air rushing on down. Rain could be a problem. It is right now anyway, south of Atlanta, and still some showers expected, especially into the Carolinas tomorrow. Well, look at the lows. Starting off 20 to 30 degrees below zero. That's the actual temperature. Now, if you factor the wind in, we're talking about 50 or 60 degrees below zero potentially by tomorrow morning. During the day, it doesn't even get above zero there. Around Minneapolis, you'll be lucky to see 0 degrees for the high. And very cold even down into St. Louis and Chicago. And the cold weather does move east, although not as bad this time around for New York and Boston. You'll be in the 20s on Sunday. Looks like the teens for Chicago, back into Des Moines and Omaha and Kansas City. The cold weather hanging around the deep south, but you'll be the first to start to feel the warming effects. And even into Florida, really this time around, the cold air is not going to affect you a whole lot, at least in South Florida. Heading on back to the west, temperatures still staying on the mild side into Tuesday and Wednesday. But look at that, the deep freeze on here. Sub-freezing temperatures all week long, at least right up to Wednesday over the northern states. Rain and snow, that's what we're talking about on Sunday. Rain to the south and then up to the north. It'll be a snow event with snow squalls still continuing all weekend here with those strong winds coming in from the west-northwest. Next system coming out of Colorado will be a nuisance, it looks like, for the south. A little bit of everything, kind of like a layer cake here. We got snow, mix, freezing rain, and that moves east on Tuesday. But by Wednesday, things finally start to quiet down, and we could use a little break, I think. Local forecast next.
Now, your local forecast, accurate and dependable from the Weather Channel. Coming up, a look at your local radar. But first, the current local conditions. Regional conditions. Your local 36-hour forecast from the National Weather Service. Extended forecast. Your local radar showing any precipitation and its movement during the past 90 minutes. Intensity is indicated by the color code at the top of the screen.
When Kate comes down with a cold, I trust the doctor's advice.
My dad is a doctor.
He's always recommended Dimetap Elixir.
Dimetap is the brand recommended by pediatricians more than all other cold medicines.
And Kate loves the grape taste. I wouldn't think of giving her anything but Dimetap.
Alcohol-free Dimetap, the cold medicine pediatricians recommend most. And for younger children, ask your pediatrician about new Dimetap decongestant drops.
For West Coast info to keep you in the know, watch the Pacific Update. Only on the Weather Channel. Weather you can always turn to.
Have you noticed that sunflowers are standing a bit taller lately? It's 'cause they're the secret to the great taste in new Sun Crunchers cereal. Sun Crunchers, the only cereal bursting with crunchy bits of toasted sunflower seeds. Wrapped around hearty flakes of wheat and corn, all lightly sweetened for that Sun Cruncher taste everybody's gonna love. New Sun Crunchers. Taste the sensation.
Well, checking on the west, we're going to talk about how things are changing. This cold front, this Arctic front, is going to slice all the way down south and actually move westward so that things are going to cool off as far west as Seattle and Portland. We've already been seeing some snow in Colorado and Montana, and we're going to see additional snow this weekend, and do expect dangerously cold temperatures too, with wind chills running some 30, 40, 50 degrees below zero. That is dangerous, folks. All right, you don't have to worry about the dangerous wind chills in Southern California, just a little fog in Santa Barbara tomorrow morning with a high of 65 degrees, probably topping out after 40s in the morning in San Francisco, 60. Sunshine, looking nice. 48 for the Tahoe Valley. 20 tomorrow morning in Yakima. Your high will be about 39 degrees. The winds will pick up and things are going to turn a lot colder on Sunday. Just how cold is it going to get and how long will it stay cold? Stay tuned, we'll explain.
Now, your local forecast, accurate and dependable from the Weather Channel. Coming up, a look at your local radar. But first, the current local conditions. Current regional conditions. Your local 36-hour forecast from the National Weather Service. The extended forecast. Special regional information. The forecast for cities nationwide. The regional forecast. Your local radar showing any precipitation and its movement during the past 9 minutes. The intensity is indicated by the color code at the top of the screen. This is the Weather Channel. Weather you can always turn to for accurate weather forecasts at your convenience 24 hours a day.
Hi everyone, thanks for tuning into the Weather Channel. We are going to be taking you right through the forecast of the weekend, of course, but setting up the stage of the weekend, we're talking about cold weather, we're talking about snow, and we're talking about Colorado and the troopers out there. Summit County, we had some problems here. It wasn't a whole lot of snow, just a couple of inches, but I guess since we haven't had much lately, folks just forgot how to drive and slow it down. We had quite a few fender benders. Even the airport, Stapleton, sending some planes away and actually just kind of closed temporarily there as they were had a shortage of rundowns, apparently. It's not the report we got anyway. Well, we're talking about cold air, and it's going to affect a lot of us over the weekend. You see how big the air mass is. It pretty much takes up North America. with the exception of the southwest and Mexico. And Florida, you'll probably catch a break from this system. What's it look like right now with the satellite picture is showing us the situation is very clear on the west coast. We don't have any clouds very close at all. They're way out here. Big high pressure area in the upper levels of the atmosphere keeping it nice and dry for now. This little disturbance and cloud mass will be coming in though. We'll have to keep an eye on that, and that'll be down the road a piece. I'll show you what's going on. The current map is pretty quiet out there. Some fog back at around Sacramento and Sacramento Valley. And the front, that elusive front, or not elusive, but let's say that that big Arctic front, which is slowly kind of seeping its way westward and southward and into Denver. It's already come on in. The snows have been coming down, a couple inches of new snow in the Denver area this evening. 40 was the high in Denver, but temperatures have been dropping. It'll be a very cold weekend. 50 at Salt Lake, 67 in Vegas, and 68 in LA for the high. Only mustered 45 in Seattle, though. Not much of a day there. 54 in LA right now. Up the coast, 50 degrees in San Francisco, and further to the northwest, it is 44 in Seattle. Well, talking about earthquakes, we had a couple of earthquakes in Alaska, and one near Talkeetna, one near now Valdez, both about 3.5, 3.8 there. No major problem. And elsewhere, it was very quiet down the coastline. Nothing much to report. There was one off this frame, which was in Wyoming. That was 3.4 on the Richter scale near Ofton, Wyoming. We'll show you the current map, see what else is going on across the country. We've got that big front pushing eastward as well as pushing into the western states. And as it pushes in, the cold air coming into Chicago. How cold is it? Right now, we're reporting 15 degrees in Chicago, 2 below actual temperature in Minneapolis-St. Paul. You take this temperature, you factor in the wind and run it through this little equation we have, and you get temperatures like this. And this is what we believe it feels like to expose skin, your face or your hands or anything else for that matter. Temperatures 40 to 50 degrees below zero. That is nasty. And that is wintertime in the north. But even some cold numbers down south. 13 in St. Louis is pretty nippy. Let's show you what's going on here. From up above, we take you in the clouds in motion. You can see this right here. This is cloudiness developing and snow developing as that cold air just kind of gets pushed up into the mountains. There's a big mass of cold air. This is supposed to be the satellite picture. That's what you're telling me right now. We should be looking at clouds. Well, it's an infrared photography type of deal here. So we're looking at temperatures, not clouds necessarily. It just turns out clouds are usually colder than the ground, and that's why we can see them. But in this case, the ground is pretty cold. That's that cold air coming on down. So it thinks there's clouds there, but more often than not, it's just a lot of cold air with that Arctic air mass dropping on in. I'll show you what else is going on here. There's that current map again. The snow's up here, the rain's down here, and boy, the rain's been coming down in the southeast. Flooding has been a problem just south of Atlanta. Jonesboro, 4.5 inches, and still there's a threat for maybe some of these thunderstorms being severe. Gusty winds and some hail with that as well. Well, we do have a radar out of this area. It's been kind of coming over the same area all night long, right along I-20 here. We call that a training effect because it's really just dropping the rain in the same area, just like a caboose bringing up the rear there. We got a lot of rain still falling in Atlanta back to just south of Birmingham, and still it's going to be a stormy night here and a very kind of a flood-prone night in this area. Watch out with those heavy rains coming on down. Close up of the Atlanta area showing where the heavy rains have been. Down here in Clayton, Henry counties, we've had some flash flood warnings out down into Fayette County and also back here as well. Some very heavy stuff coming in. Not so heavy up here. Light snow in Boston. This is all snow, by the way, around Syracuse and Watertown. Expect more of that this weekend, though, as the cold air is coming in. Look at the temperatures, 10 to 20 degrees below zero, and that's dropping down southward. I'll show you that forecast. Starting in the west, we'll show you not much, a lot of wind out here through, say, Salt Lake City and Denver, some snow in Denver. As we go through the day, you are still south of the front, and that means you're on the warm side here in LA and San Diego. That means 65 in San Diego, 68 in LA. Up the coast, some fog around Sacramento. You'll burn that off by afternoon. 64 for the high, a few clouds though left over. 60 at San Fran. And in Seattle, 32 for the low, the high only 43, and still that wind kind of coming into the northwest here. The afternoon map shaping up like this Saturday afternoon. Snow showers near the lakes, a few flurries down here behind the Arctic front as it pushes through Nashville and Memphis. Could see some snow. Light stuff though. Saturday's highs, that's cold enough. don't you hate it when people say, is it cold enough for you? Well, this is cold enough for me, I tell you what. And it's going to stay cold all through the weekend, even a little colder down into North Texas here. A lot of blue on this map, and a lot of folks will be sub-freezing during the day Sunday. On Monday, a little moderation in the deep south, but everybody in the north still cold. There's the rain situation on Saturday. It looks like the heavier rain south of Atlanta, so you'll probably catch a break from the heavier rains, but still some rain here and some snow developing back into Tennessee, lighter stuff for the most part. On Sunday, we're watching another system pulling out here, and that looks like it'll be a real problem in the deep south for next week. We'll worry about that next week. We'll talk now about some travel forecasts coming up.
What if we got a hill and made it snow?
Audi Quattro, all-wheel drive, all the time, transfers power to the wheels with the most traction.
Wait, no, scratch the snow. Keep the hill and get something really slippery.
So Quattro goes places the Mercedes C280 and BMW 325i, even with traction control, never dreamed. And it goes there for less.
Nah, they'd never believe it.
Audi Quattro from $27,170 from the soul of Audi.
To test drive a road-gripping Audi Quattro, visit your nearest Audi dealer.
Don't prepare them for the world without preparing them for the weather. Watch the school day forecast weekday mornings 35 minutes after the hour only on the Weather Channel. Now, your local forecast, accurate and dependable from the Weather Channel. Current regional conditions. Special regional information. Your local 36-hour forecast from the National Weather Service. Your region's long-range outlook. The regional forecast. The extended forecast. Your local radar, showing any precipitation and its movement during the past 90 minutes. Intensity is indicated by the color code at the top of the screen.
The Travel Channel and I are going for a spin. Care to come along?
This is your chance to win a trip around the world with Corbin Burnson and $10,000 in MasterCard Traveler's Checks. The Travel Channel Ultimate World Tour 95. To enter, handprint your name, address, age, and the name of your local cable system on a 3x5 piece of paper and mail it to the Travel Channel Ultimate World Tour 95. P.O. Box 7230, Melville, New York, 11775-7230.
Pack light.
The Travel Channel Ultimate World Tour 95. It's sponsored in part by MasterCard.
These hands can do anything, including spread germs. Washing them often is good, but it doesn't go far enough. Lysol spray with antibacterial action kills germs on surfaces, so you don't pick them up with your hands, and that helps reduce the spread of colds and infectious diarrhea. Lysol disinfectant spray. Keep your hands off germs.
Well, we're going to take you traveling right on into the weekend. We'll start with Alaska.
Pros know how much kids love great tasting Flintstones, and they choose it nearly 3 to 1 over any other brand. Flintstones, all the vitamins and minerals kids need.
How much do you pay for a minute of long distance?
75 cents?
79 cents?
80 cents a minute.
I don't really know. Well, now Sprint introduces a whole new way to save on long distance. Every evening and all weekend long, a minute is just 10 cents. It's that simple.
For 10 cents, huh?
Piece of candy. Cheaper than sending a postcard.
10 cents a minute. I wonder why no one ever thought of that before.
Call now for 10 cents a minute and get up to 100 minutes free.
This international weather is sponsored by Sprint. We've got everything you need, local, long distance, and cellular, to let you be there now. Temperatures, wow, it's pretty cold in Oslo, 7 degrees, 16 in Stockholm, 39 in Frankfurt, and 50 for Nice. Cooling down a bit there, 54 in Barcelona. It's been very stormy. It's going to stay stormy. Sunday, we're going to get rid of one system and pull in yet another one, getting ready to make its way towards the British Isles. High pressure and control for France and Germany and the Netherlands will give you a little bit of a break after some rain on Saturday. The rain is going to be pushing through the Scandinavian countries and on towards Poland with some snow. And look at the Alps. Yep, still looking at some snow there. Warmest temperatures will be through the Mediterranean into Spain, Portugal, Corsica, Italy. Greece not looking too bad, but of course Russia and Siberia very, very cold, and on into Oslo and Copenhagen and Lillehammer. Yeah, it's pretty chilly there too. Scattered showers in Athens, upper 50s, mid 40s for Brussels, and clouds for London. Rome, yep, chance of showers. Chance of rain for Madrid, and rain and snow in Stockholm. Stay tuned. We'll tell you what you can expect come this weekend.
The Weather Channel brings you the Earthquake Activity Report. We'll advise of earthquake activity near the West Coast during the past 24 hours, only on the Weather Channel.
Sun, snow, rain, or fog. Know what to expect. Just 95 cents a minute. Dial 1-900-WEATHER. Connect.
Coming soon to Sussex County are all the outstanding values for Mitsubishi at Salerno Duane Auto Plaza in Newton. From the all-new 95 Mitsubishi Eclipse to the Montero, Diamante, Galant, 3000 GT, and the economical Mirage, Salerno Duane will have a Mitsubishi for you. Plus, don't forget about all the great values from Pontiac, Buick, GMC trucks, Subaru, and quality used cars Salerno Duane has to offer you right now. So look for the outstanding values for Mitsubishi. Coming soon to Salerno Duane Auto Plaza in Newton.
From the customer service department to the man on the road, everyone at All County Septic Service appreciates your business. All over Sussex County, customers know they can count on All County Septic Service for fast, dependable service. The patronage, loyalty, and recommendations of their customers over the past 20 years means you can have confidence in All County Septic too. All County Septic will honor any competitor's coupon. Call All County Septic to be sure you'll get fast, dependable service at the best price.
Coming up, a look at your local radar. But first, the 36-hour forecast from the National Weather Service. Showing any precipitation in your area. Intensity is indicated by the color code at the top of the screen. If you're about to travel, watch the 5-Day Business Planner here on the Weather Channel at 20 minutes after every hour. You get a comprehensive national report that covers the forecast over the next 5 days. Watch the 5-Day Business Planner coming up soon on the Weather Channel.
Introducing non-drowsy Triminic AM. A whole new way for kids to get daytime relief from coughs and colds. Dye-free Triminic AM gives kids relief without drowsiness. New Triminic AM, non-drowsy relief.
Look for Triaminic at this fine store.
Under the weather? Walgreens can have you back to your routine in no time. Remind you of your nose during cold season? Come to Walgreens before you go over the edge.
There are those among us with very simple tastes. They only want the best. And for them, there's Fancy Feast gourmet cat food. Exceptionally moist and delicious. Fancy Feast. Good taste is easy to recognize.
Fancy Feast invites you to the Friskies CFA Cat Show. Call this number for local details.
This weather segment is sponsored by the Travel Channel. Call your cable operator for the cable listing in your area.
Yes, we're talking about lots of winter weather, even in the deep south. We've had a little bit of icing going on. Oh, that's gone now. It's warmed up here in the deep south. Now we got a rain event, heavy rain event, as a matter of fact, flooding going on south side of Atlanta. So be careful out there. Heavy rain's coming down tonight. Tomorrow looks a little better, but the tomorrow is going to bring this cold air down. That's going to mean temperatures dropping even more. 24-hour temperature changes, very impressive here. 22 degrees colder in Des Moines right now, 32 degrees colder than this time last night in Minneapolis, St. Paul. And the front is about right here, you could say, dropping through St. Louis. Just a matter of time, Little Rock and Nashville, before your temperatures start to go down compared to a day ago. And you can see the cold air, 10 degrees below zero, and the zero line is down here about Ames, Iowa right now. Very cold weather moving into the cyclone country. 30s and 40s in the deep south, warm enough just for rain. 41 degrees the current temperature in Atlanta, 38 in Nashville. So the good news is it's a cold rain and not a wet snow this time around in the deep south, with temperatures getting a bit milder here. But if you take the temperatures up here, factor in the wind, we're looking at 40 to 50 degrees below zero for the wind chill values, and that'll be with us all night long. Excuse me, through tomorrow morning, 40 to 60 degrees below zero, the wind chill values. And that is for real. If you've been out there for very long with nothing on your hands and you're working on a car or you're broken down, that can be nasty. Well, the situation to the north is cold and snowy. To the south, we've got a different situation. Low pressure, warmer air trying to come up. We've got some thunderstorms here, and some pretty big thunderstorms at that. As we go through the forecast, more cold air. Let's talk about that in just a second. Let's go back to the thunderstorm what we were talking about and check the radars here, because they're very, very active. Those radars showing the rain pretty intense in this area in the southeast, right around the Atlanta metroplex. Heavy rains now south side of Atlanta, and that's where they should stay for the balance of the evening and tomorrow. But still there'll be some precipitation breaking out here, because not a lot has changed, and it won't change this weekend, unfortunately. A lot of moisture still coming in from the southwest. There's a close-up the Atlanta area. Pretty moderate rains here on the east and south side of the city, getting a break up around Cobb County. It's about over. Have a few more showers tonight and maybe a few tomorrow. Snow's about over in Denver too. They've moved down to the south, but a few snow showers all weekend long. A lot of cold weather. Speaking of cold weather, it has been nasty with the snows coming on down around Fargo, and really not a lot of snow as much as cold, but looks like a little tundra scene off in central Alaska here. But this is right in the heartland of America. Very cold stuff. A terrible day to be working outdoors, and boy, I have to feel for these guys. I'll show you what's going on here in Sunday's forecast, kind of the overview outlook. You can see the snow will be breaking out here in the colder air, and high pressure will be moving east. So everybody, almost everybody, getting a taste of this. Let's see what the forecast has for you folks in the west. Looks pretty quiet here as far as precipitation, just a lot of wind, and some of that wind will be cold up here in the northwest. But down around California, not looking too bad. Temperatures warming up into the 60s, close to 70 degrees at L8, Civic Center, 68 there. Up the coast, we'll see 47 in San Fran for the morning low, then up to 60 for the high, 64 at Sacramento, Tahoe at 48. In the northwest, 32 in Seattle for the low, high of 43 degrees. And it does appear that we are going to see some pretty cold winds blowing through this area, especially the Columbia Basin, so something you'll want to be concerned with possibly in this area. As far as the rest of the U.S., we're looking at the situation to be pretty much the same as it was today. Still rain in the southeast, although watch out for the cold air. It'll be working its way into the Tennessee Valley, and you'll notice a big change as that front comes in. The winds will shift to the north, and the temperatures will start to drop, and they'll continue to drop right through Saturday night around Memphis and Little Rock and on up into Nashville and Paducah and Lexington And the coastline, well, this front not quite to New York and Boston, but believe you me, it's going to be there by Sunday. We'll have more on that coming up. But next, the Traveler's Update.
Sir, you're going into the real world?
Yes, people have to know how uncommonly good Keebler cookies and crackers are.
Do people believe in elves?
One taste, and they'll believe.
Oh. What's the real world?
The Weather Channel is proud to be the official sponsor of USA Team Handball, now training for the 1996 Olympics. Now, your local forecast, accurate and dependable from the Weather Channel. Current regional conditions. Special regional information. Local 36-hour forecast from the National Weather Service. Long-range outlook. The regional forecast. The extended forecast. Local radar showing any precipitation and its movement during the past 90 minutes. Intensity is indicated by the color code at the top of the screen.
Nobody does it like you, the way that you do. Nobody's got the power to please me.
The new Hoover Power Drive Cleaner. It's self-propelled forward and back with reversible drive wheels and fingertip control. The new self-propelled Hoover Power Drive. It makes the cleaning so effortless, you might say it's child's play.
Hoover, nobody does it like you.
Look for fine Hoover products at a retailer near you.
The tradition, the celebration, and a night you'll never forget. Join the Travel Channel live in San Francisco as the Chinese New Year Parade fills the streets with breathtaking pageantry and spectacular performances. The Chinese New Year Parade, February 11th at 9 Eastern on the Travel Channel. If you don't have the Travel Channel, call your cable operator today.
And now it's time for the Michelin Drivers Report, brought to you by Michelin and your participating Michelin dealers.
Well, we got some wet roadways, to say the least, out here. In some cases, maybe flooded roadways, especially those secondary roads. Had some heavy rains around Atlanta, especially south side of the city. Be careful of that. It's a rain event this time around, though. The snow is further to the north. But the rains will be spreading up the coastline here, heading into Richmond by morning. Looking for some snow. You'll find it near the lakes and back into the Rocky Mountains. We're seeing that snow coming down. Through the day Saturday, it doesn't change a whole lot. We'll see more snow filtering in behind our front here, possibly Nashville, Little Rock, and areas like that, thanks to some very cold winds blowing. Boy, the winds are really howling now, coming in from the north and northwest, and it's going to be a cold weekend wherever you see the blue here, because those cold winds will be blowing. A little fog out there to be concerned with. Across the southeast, we're seeing the fog with a lot of moisture and rain, and also in California. But that's about the only problem you have in California. Everything else is looking just dandy out there. Well, we'll have the weekend outlook coming up. The very talented and colorful Terry Smith will be joining us, and she'll be telling you all about the weekend and how to plan for it. Looks like a pretty cold one, though. Wind chill values way down there.
Rangers, Cherokees, Broncos, Explorers, Pathfinders, Blazers. Any pickup or 4x4, on-road or off. Introducing the tough new LTX Light Truck Series from Michelin.
Find Michelin tires at this dealer near you because so much is riding on your tires.
Now, your local forecast, accurate and dependable from the Weather Channel. Coming up, a look at your local radar. But first, the current local conditions. Conditions. Your local 36-hour forecast from the National Weather Service. Extended forecast. Special regional information. The forecast for cities nationwide. Local radar showing any precipitation and its movement during the past 90 minutes. Intensity is indicated by the color code at the top of the screen. You're watching the Weather Channel. Weather you can always turn to for accurate, dependable weather forecasts 24 hours a day.
Very cold temperatures set up in the east earlier this week, and that has caused a multitude of problems. Well, for you folks who live in the west, the cold weather and some of the headaches that come along with it will be heading into your region. We'll have that in a moment. First, though, some of the scenes from earlier this morning around Charlotte, North Carolina, where the day began with a mixture of freezing rain and sleet. Fortunately, though, the wintry mix ended by noontime, but sand trucks were out just making sure the streets were passable, and overall there probably weren't many problems. At least we didn't get too many reports of very many headaches. Good news is it's warmer now. Cold air is moving fast into Colorado for the weekend and bringing snow and hazardous driving conditions along with it. 2 to 4 inches of snow-covered roadways in Summit County today, with another 1 to 4 inches expected tonight. The big change, though, is going to be the cold temperatures, as temperatures are expected to drop to near zero, and with winds of 15 to 30 miles an hour, it's going to feel more like 20 to 40 degrees below zero outdoors. So the theme here is, if you're heading outdoors in the west, make sure you are dressed warmly and prepared for this cold outbreak. We've seen the Arctic air that has settled into many areas in the east, but this area of low pressure is actually going to work its way westward, and that will allow areas like Washington and Oregon and even parts of Northern California to see the temperatures plunge this weekend. Show you our satellite picture here in motion. And overall, we had a quiet day weather-wise. It's hard to pick out where the front is, but it's right about here. You can kind of see the clouds here, and what you're seeing back behind it is a little bit of cloudiness as well. We also had a little bit of a southern stream here along the southern branch of the jet, bringing in clouds across the southwest. There had been some rain with that in southern areas of Arizona and New Mexico, and now that's working its way toward Texas. And we're also keeping our eye on this little area of low pressure just spinning about, because it may be working its way inland here over the next couple of days or so. But as far as a weather day goes, this was perhaps you could call it a snoozer, with the exception of the Arctic front making its way into areas like Salt Lake City and Colorado with some snowfall, and then the Arctic air back to the east of it. We had ourselves a fairly quiet day. A little bit of fog reforming again around the Sacramento and San Francisco region, and a little bit of morning clouds this morning in California, but nothing really out of the ordinary temperature-wise. It was about normal. Here's a look at our latest satellite, or I should say radar picture. You can see some of the snow that is forming right around the Salt Lake City, Ogden region, and then into Colorado, especially eastern Colorado here. This line of snow showers has been pressing southward, and snow advisories have been issued for the Denver metro area. About 3 to 5 inches of snowfall is expected to accumulate. We're still dealing with a little bit of light snow around the Denver metro area. Around Boulder, a few flurries here, but most of the heavy snows have pressed on off toward the south. As far as our temperatures were concerned today, we were fairly seasonable again, but the cold air is on the way. Here's some of the cold air that we're looking at. Williston today, high temperature 5, 12 in Cut Bank, 40 in Denver, 68 in Phoenix, and also for Los Angeles. And we probably won't see such a big change in the temperatures here in the southwest. Now, as we check out our present readings in the Southland, we have 61 right now in Imperial, 54 Long Beach, heading up the coast to Santa Barbara. It's 53 there, and in Santa Maria. And at the Bay, 50, with Sacramento in the valley at 48 degrees. And then for the northwest, fairly mild temperatures, 44 Seattle and 48 Portland. A couple of earth tremors to report to you today in Southern California, but southern Alaska. And aside from that scenario, it was quiet all up and down the west coast. No earthquakes to report today, and we like to be able to say that. Well, we've got two fronts we're dealing with. This front here is our Arctic front. It's holding back a lot of bone-chilling cold air. To the south, this frontal system has been more of a rainmaker and at times a strong thunderstorm maker. There's still the potential here to see some intense thunderstorms. That's why the severe thunderstorm watch remains in effect until 2 o'clock in the morning local time. Let's check briefly the radar, and you'll notice the very intense thunderstorms that continue to form, and flooding has been a concern and something we've been watching and will continue to watch through the evening hours here tonight. This is all liquid, by the way, just so that your mind may rest peacefully. Let's jump back into the west and find out how things shape up for tomorrow. There's our Arctic front. And here's our forming front. There's an area of low pressure that will be developing in the southwest tomorrow, and that will touch off a little bit in the way of rain and snow, but still overall a dry forecast, just a very cold forecast for a lot of folks. Now, for you folks who live in the Southland, it's going to be fine tomorrow. Maybe a few morning clouds, but a nice sunny day shaping up and very mild with highs in the 60s along the coast and interior regions on into the 80s. Northern California, you'll find a little fog around Monterey and San Francisco, and might delay that golf game a little while perhaps, but we should see the sun returning in a nice mild afternoon setting up with highs in the 60s. The northwest, well, here we go with the big changes. Notice how cold it is in the interior regions here, and a little cooler too along the coastal areas where earlier we had a lot of 50s and 60s, 43 more the order of the day for Seattle. For the rest of the nation, well, a very active weather pattern for the east with these two fronts combining to produce quite a bit in the way of rain and snow. And there's the cold air across virtually the entire country. Temperatures down across Texas will continue to cool right on into Monday, and Tuesday, very little temperature change. South Florida, you'll be about the only place that will escape the very chilly weather. Well, as far as our storms are concerned, here's the Arctic front. Ahead of it, it's warm enough for rain. Behind it, that's where we're going to find the snowfall. Remember that area of low pressure that forms here? Well, here it is Sunday, still spinning, generating more snow. And then eventually it's going to be pulling into the plains. Now, we've got the cold air in place, so we will find some snow around areas like St. Louis and Kansas City, and a mixture of conditions to the north and some rain along the west coast. Could be interesting. The slopes could be looking a little better, too, with all this cold air. We'll check it out coming up.
Why suffer another sleepless night when you can now own a Wonder Bed for as low as $49 per month with no money down? That's right, only $49 per month with no money down. The electrically adjustable Wonder Bed individually raises your head and feet for the ultimate in comfort and support. All you do is push a button, and Wonder Bed will make it easier for you to read, watch TV, or just relax in bed. No flatbed can offer you more at any price. If you'd like to find out about the electrically adjustable Wonder Bed, call the toll-free number you see on your TV, and we'll mail you a free video and brochure. There's no obligation to buy anything, and no salesman will ever come to your home. So call Wonder Bed now at the number shown on your TV anytime, day or night, to own a Wonder Bed for as low as only $49 per month with approved credit. Call right now for the Wonder Bed.
Now, your local forecast, accurate and dependable from the Weather Channel. Current regional conditions. Special regional information. Your local 36-hour forecast from the National Weather Service. Region's long-range outlook. The regional forecast. The extended forecast. Your local radar showing any precipitation and its movement during the past 90 minutes. Intensity is indicated by the color code at the top of the screen.
I pay more to get a great night's sleep. Introducing the American Health Adjustable Sleep System. If you've ever suffered any of these problems, this is the bed you've been looking for. Best of all, you'll pay up to 50% less than those other beds you've seen on TV. Raise your back, raise your legs, take the pressure off your lumbar spine. Touch your remote control and treat yourself to a soothing, relaxing massage. Call this number for a free catalog and discover a complete line of beneficial health products. From our electric lift chairs to our three-wheel scooters for your independent lifestyle. Our prices are printed right in the catalog. There's no guessing, no haggling, and no high-pressure salesman will come to your home.
Call today, 1-800-962-9797 for your free catalog. That's 1-800-962-9797 to pay up to 50% less for a great night's sleep. Just call 1-800-962-9797.
It's time now to take a look at the ski conditions as we head out to the west. Vail, Colorado picking up a couple of brand new inches, powder conditions there, and Park City, Utah picking up one brand new inch of snow. Winter Park, 3 new inches, 100% of the trails open there. Packed powder conditions in Taos and in Mammoth Mountain in California. As far as the forecast goes, we have more on the way. We'll continue to see more of that moisture streaming on in. We think it's going to be a pretty good weekend for you on into early next week. Even as we head into the Sierra Nevada, we'll be talking about some more snowfall there. It's not a major snowstorm by any means, but it's certainly enough to add some fresh snow cover and increase the base just enough to get the folks out there on the slopes. Rain may be a problem in portions of California on the way to the slopes.
I see you're drinking Carnation Instant Breakfast.
It's a chocolate milkshake.
It's a low-fat breakfast with all 19 vitamins and minerals.
It's a milkshake.
And Carnation Instant Breakfast has all the nutrition you need in the morning.
It's still a milkshake.
Hop to the islands, Abaco or Bimini. Paradise is calling. Do the Bahamas with me.
So many islands, so many smiles. It's hip to hop to the Bahamas. 700 islands, so many friends. It's hip to hop to the Bahamas.
Ask your travel agent about the Go-Go Tours Get Carried Away Bahamas package. Call 1-800-377-1199.
Time now to take a look at some of the winter weather out there. Yes, there's a lot to talk about. Earlier, Terry showed you some of the snowfall coming down in Denver and how a lot of that is now pushed off to the south and east of the metro Denver area, but we're still talking about snow, light snow mainly across the northern plains states. Gets a little heavier as you head off of Lake Superior. You may encounter a few problems there. Let's check out where your wintry travel will be as we work our way on into the early morning hours. Occasionally we'll see a little bit of light snow, Lee of Lake Erie, Lake Ontario, and not everywhere here that's painted in white is going to see snowfall, but enough there in some spots to maybe cause a few problems. In other words, some areas it might see some accumulation, other areas probably not. And toward the end of the forecast period, maybe central Tennessee getting a little dusting of some snowfall. But rain is also a big travel headache, and being wintertime, some of these spots have actually seen a mixture of precipitation. Now we're just talking about all rain, the potential also for some flooding as well, and some spots could see locally 3 inches or more. Add that on to the 3 inches some spots already have, and that's a lot of rainfall in a short period of time. Rainy travel should continue into Saturday afternoon throughout the southeast.
Get up-to-the-minute ski information from major resorts as well as conditions on slopes near you. The Skiers Forecast hourly all season long on the Weather Channel.
Current conditions, extended forecasts, travel information for over 225 international cities. Call NECT.
I don't do windows. I don't do sinks. And I don't do bathroom tile.
She has Invisible Shield. It keeps windows spotless, sinks clean and shiny, and tiles free from scum. Watch, muddy water leaves this patio door a mess, but treat it with Invisible Shield and the mud refuses to stick. Amazing! And forget messy sinks. With Invisible Shield, all the dirt just slides down the drain. Just apply it once, and you won't have to scrape or scrub for months. Look, a whole paper towel can't soak up this water, but the treated half beads and cleans up effortlessly. Order now and you'll also get this lime scale remover to clean dirty surfaces once and for all. The entire Easy Clean system is only $14.95. So have your credit card ready and call now.
To order your 2 bottles of Invisible Shield, call 1-800-532-9797. That's 1-800-532-9797. Order now. Call 1-800-532-9797.
Coming up, a look at your local radar. But first, the 36-hour forecast from the National Weather Service. extended forecast. The current local radar showing any precipitation in your area. Intensity is indicated by the color code at the top of the screen. You're watching the Weather Channel. For accurate forecasts,